Here is 44, and there's the Newcastle area, and again the cell is moving probably just a little to the north of east and generally towards Moore and Bridge Creek and Newcastle. Let's take a look at the velocity mode here, and again you can see there is rotation right there. There's an area where that red and green is right next to each other, and that's where the Doppler radar is showing us that there's a spin and a pronounced one. And so we're going to want to keep a very close eye on this as it moves towards that more populated 35 corridor. The movement here is now generally to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Now I want to take you farther southward and show you the tornado warning that is down in Garvey and Grady and Stevens counties. This going until 3:15, and you can see a huge supercell thunderstorm with very heavy rain and a hail threat. And let's zoom in a little bit and take a look at what's going on with the velocity there. And we are seeing a rotational signature on the southwest side of the cell right in here. So certainly there is potential for a tornado. Rotating wall cloud was spotted with this storm, and that is now generally going to be moving off towards the east as well, but a little bit to the north of the east. And we can take a look at some of the towns that are going to be potentially in the path of this particular cell as it moves eastward. Hope, I think that's going to be on top of you in very short order, so please be careful there in the Hope area. There's your movement, and in Hope it's probably going to be coming in within the next 15 minutes. So now is the time to start thinking about taking shelter there in Hope as that storm continues to move in. Also a very serious hail threat with a number of these storms, and we can take a look at the hail tracker, and that is now indicating the presence of 1 to 2 inch hail. See 2.1 inches there, not very far away from the Hope area, so that is greater than golf ball size hail. This, by the way, is now just to the west of 35. Tremendous amount of lightning along with that cell, and there are a whole series of storms right now. So there are a string of severe thunderstorm warnings. And all of these cells are supercell storms, and they may all begin to rotate at some point. But again, we've got two main concerns, and we do have a tornado right now. And we've got a tornado in Newcastle, and we've got a live picture now coming from Newcastle, and there it is. There you see that wedge shape there. So folks, now is the time to take cover. If you are in Moore, if you're in Bridge Creek, if you are in Norman, Oklahoma, along 35 south of town, now is the time to take cover. We've got a tornado on the ground in Newcastle. It is moving towards the east at 30 miles per hour. A very dangerous situation there right along 44, and we can, I believe, put the radar back up for you and show you exactly where the circulation is. Again, that's right along I-44 and very close to the Canadian River. So it's going to be right around 44 and Route 62 and also Route 37 crossing the Canadian River before too long. So right in here, there's 44 and there is the Canadian River. And you see the velocity signature, which is now more pronounced. So this storm is showing signs of strengthening already, and certainly that's what we're seeing in the video right there. This funnel reaching all the way to the ground there. This is a tornado in progress. We're not seeing a dust envelope as of yet, but you can see that condensation funnel reaching all the way to the ground there. So we do have an ongoing tornado there in Newcastle. And again, folks, you've been through this before. We know what this is all about in Moore and also in Norman, 99, and of course just a few years after that in 2003. Terrible tornadoes in this area, and this storm is now generally headed towards 35 and Moore and Bridge Creek. So now is the time to take shelter, folks. It's time now to get to your safe spot, lowest floor of your house, the basement. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can. You want to get away from the windows, as this is a very dangerous storm and very well formed, as you can see here. So we are going through it once again, looking at the rotational signature. Look at that, power flashes right there. You see that? So this storm is now doing damage to at least power lines and transformers there in the Newcastle area. And again, as of the latest scan on radar, was just west of I-44 and very close to the Canadian River. So probably right along Route 37, near the intersection of Route 37 and also Route 32. And then we'll be getting across the Canadian River into less populated territory, maybe crossing over southwest 175th Street, northeast 34th Street, and then also northern Portland Avenue as it moves along towards the east now, generally maybe a little north of east at about 30 miles per hour, but a well-formed tornado, as you can see, and this is rapidly evolving into a dangerous situation. Let's talk about the timing of this now. The storm is most likely on its current track and speed, most likely going to be in the Moore area at 3:15. So that's coming up in 15 minutes. Folks, that gives you 15 minutes to prepare for a possible tornado coming your way. Also, Clothier, probably about 3:22 Central Time. This storm is going to be moving in and is again rapidly developing. We are seeing a more robust rotational signature on the radar picture, and certainly the video is bearing that out as well. We're seeing a very well-defined tornado now on the southwest side of this supercell thunderstorm, and that is now located right along 44 and maybe just a little east of that. We're awaiting a new radar scan, and here's a look at the high-resolution radar. You can see that circulation there crossing I-44. Let's go over to Mach 7 and take a look at it right there. Here's the latest radar scan showing you again a very robust velocity couplet, much more well-defined than it was just moments ago, and right along 44, which is right in here, and again moving just a little bit to the north of east. So folks, again in Moore and Norman, get ready. We've got a big storm that is moving in right now. Guys, over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Carl. As we continue to watch these live pictures from KFOR, they're up in the air over Newcastle, Oklahoma. We've seen power flashes. This is a dangerous, large tornado that may actually be growing in size and may actually getting even better organized. As you can see there, it is quite large as it is.
And Kelly reports that there may be a debris ball on the radar right now, indicating it is doing damage. It's near the Newcastle Casino at this time. The helicopter pilot who is in the air right now looking at this tornado saying it's getting bigger, it's getting wider, it's becoming more violent. So please, if you live in the area or near Moore, Oklahoma, please get to shelter immediately. It looks like it's becoming more rain wrapped at this time. It's huge. It's a huge tornado, and it may be getting rain wrapped and hard to see. So please, if you're in the path of this, get to your safety shelter right now, your safe house, where you need to go right now. Now it's northeast of the high school near Newcastle, and it's fixing to cross Interstate 44, and it's huge. It's wide. Right. It's a big tornado, and it's going to be capable of producing a lot of damage, and hopefully folks are seeking shelter at this time.
This is just south of Oklahoma City. It is moving toward the northeast at 20 miles per hour. Not only a tornado, as you're seeing right now live, but tennis ball hail is expected with this storm as well. So as Kim mentioned, Moore, Oklahoma, an area hard hit by tornadoes in the past, as well as Newcastle, where it is right now. Valley Brook, you should be seeking shelter right now, lowest level of your home or business, and away from the windows. And you can see right there from these live pictures of KFOR, this is a large tornado.
All right, we're going to go back to Carl Parker now. And Carl, KFOR reporter was saying there could be a debris ball on the radar. Are you seeing that right now?
Yeah, we definitely are seeing that. You see this ball? I'll show you this on the radar picture right here. That ball, that is most definitely the area right there where the storm is now picking up debris. Now, different modes that we can look at. One of them is called the correlation coefficient. You notice the black area right there. What the radar is doing is it's determining what targets are meteorological and which are non-meteorological, which is to say either structural debris or it can be trees and branches and things like that. And where you see that black, picking up those non-meteorological targets. So there is in fact a debris ball with the storm. This is a very dangerous storm now crossing the I-44 corridor, and it looks like very close to the Canadian River as well, probably just getting ready to cross the Canadian River, and again moving a little bit to the north of east, and that's going to bring it over into the far western parts of Moore there, getting out perhaps towards Pennsylvania Avenue and also towards 160th Street, and then eventually moving more towards 164th. We've now got a tornado emergency for southern parts of Oklahoma City. Tornado emergency now in effect, and there we are looking at the live pictures. Folks, this is a large wedge tornado, and this is a really dangerous situation. You know the drill here. We've been through this before. If you are listening to us from Moore, from Norman, from Bridge Creek, now is the time to get to your safe shelter. There's no time to waste. The storm is now moving east at about 30 miles per hour. And this is a very mean, nasty, large tornado, much like we saw yesterday, now coming across the southern parts, the southwestern parts of Oklahoma City. Still awaiting a new scan on the radar. This scan that we're looking at is from 59 minutes past the hour, so it's still just a little bit old. There's a look at the velocity signal And what you're seeing there is a robust velocity signature indicating very strong rotation. We can take a look at some of the values here, and we are seeing on one side about 69 knots, and on another side we're seeing about 50 knots. That would be indicating somewhere around 140 mile-per-hour winds